And hello again, YouTube. It is Thursday, January, or why do I always say January and July? It's a short circuit in my brain that it's a month, starts with J. Must be January, July 14th, 2022. You know, I'm generally kind of a scavenger, and the scavenger in me just wants to grab that phone charging cable, because it's a phone charging cable, and it's just hanging there on the door. But the part in me that insists on not ever being a thief looks at that and is like, yeah, that is very deliberately laid there, and that's somebody returning, most likely somebody returning a borrowed cord. Now, granted, that's not a really good way to return a borrowed cord. The odds of it getting stolen before the lender gets it back are pretty high, and for the most part, that person wouldn't even really be stealing it. They would have just found it there. But I'm ignoring all the voices in my head that are like, "Oh, look, free phone cable, and it's blue, it's metallic blue, it's pretty," and ignoring all those voices and moving on. So I'm supposed to be meeting my friend who found my SIM card. Probably supposed to be meeting him right now. Dude, get out from behind me. Like right now is the time I should be seeing him, but I'm here. So I just had to swing by the iPhone repair place to see if maybe, just maybe, that guy, I'm not quite sure where you're turning, dude. Now, when you're turning into an entrance that's also an exit, you got to leave enough space for the person to exit. Apparently that guy hasn't learned that lesson yet. Oh, by the way, the time, it's 2:54 p.m. And wow, and come to think of it, I didn't check Google traffic, but at 2:54 p.m. I was thinking I need to get to like kind of Desert Sky, West Phoenix area-ish, and I was the cab driver voices in the back of my head that never shut up were like, "Ooh, yeah, hang a right, get on the 51. That's freeway close. Just catch the 51 southbound, go through the tunnel on the 10, just take the 10 all the way out to 59th Avenue. You make it in no time." Yeah, those are the loudest voices. And just now, when I said what time it was, I realized that, yeah, without me looking at Google Maps, statistically the odds of going through the tunnel being bumper to bumper are pretty high. So, yeah, not going that way. Which is fine. Actually, that silly little U-turn I made there at Bethany, ironically, that might have been the quickest way to get to Bethany headed westbound from where I was, turning right on 16th Street. But because to get into the left lane, I would have had to quickly get across 2 lanes of traffic that were kind of backing up and all wedging to the left lane, because the idiot that was turning right into the parking lot that seemed to think that he didn't need to leave space for traffic coming out of said parking lot in order for him to get in. And of course, he can't get in until I get out if he's turning that way. So yeah, that would have been like not even a safe maneuver to try to, most likely not a safe maneuver to get into that left turn lane. So probably just did all I could have done anyway. So yeah, I'm on my way to grab my SIM card from what might possibly be my last real friend on the planet. As I mentioned, yeah, when I had my existential crisis early Sunday morning, I dropped 300 notes and only one got a response. And and then my dumb ass left my my Mint Mobile SIM card in his car. He just found it today and notified me about it. And I'm not sure if I mentioned that in any of my vlogs since Monday, but I don't know. I noticed like Monday or Tuesday. Speaking of leaving phone-related stuff, so last night, as I mentioned in the last video, or maybe the video before, did totes in outbound. Had a blast doing totes. Aside from towards the end of the night, I was like massively tired, and just the internal stimuli that I get in complements of schizoaffective disorder was loud. I just kept seeing people walking into my work zone that weren't there, so I was constantly like stopping and checking and yielding to the invisible people. But yet I still got chewed out from the PA that up until last night has been nothing but just 100% just praise and adoration for the way I work when I'm over there. For downstacking within 20 feet of my TDR person. And I'm absolutely convinced that I was more than 20 feet away from him when I raised my forks to downstack. Trying to replay that event in my head. I think when I raised and granted, it takes two people to screw up. It takes two people to violate one of those kind of rules. It really does. Am I partially to blame? Did I instigate that? Most definitely. But on the same token, I think significantly more blame falls on the guy that was doing the TDR. Now I've never worked with him before, ever. I've never met this guy before. Not quite sure what to think of him. For the most part, I like him, but it seems like he's got a personal problem with that particular PA, which is somebody I actually really like, get along with fabulously, and I'm also very attracted to, so there's that. In one thing for me, working in a place where there's a lot of coworkers, I've got a pretty damn high work ethic, and I don't like it when I'm working my ass off and somebody else who's probably being paid as much as me, if not more, is just slacking a whole lot, standing around chatting, playing with their phone, and just doing everything but working. Now, to be fair, every time I needed a he pretty much was my TDR guy for the duration of the night, and every time I needed attention at one of my docks, he was there for me very quick. And I feel like, in spite of the fact that he was slacking a lot, I do feel like we were working as a team pretty well. Keep in mind, when I'm doing totes, I'm so on my grind with that and so focused on that it's hard for me to even notice anybody slacking, because I'm like laser focused on my totes and my loading zones and all that. So in fact, the slacker that most caught my eye was this let's see, you're not supposed to say fat, that's rude. So this portly, pleasantly plump woman. She's wearing a yellow safety vest. It wasn't a vest that indicates any kind of position. She was in the trash compactor Gaylord dumper zone, which is in between the two work zones I have for inbound totes in the outbound docks. So I pass through there constantly. Mostly I pass through there on foot. Like I'll be parking my forklift on one side or the other, and I'll walk across the other side. And the most direct, safest route for me to get from that point A to that point B is to walk through that area. But unless you're actually working like inbound docks and handling totes or handling TDR, there's zero reason or you work for ABM. And ABM, I'm not sure what it stands for. They're basically a third-party contractor that they're the cleanup people in the warehouse I'm at. I'm not entirely sure why Amazon doesn't handle that themselves, but yeah, ABM, those people don't actually work for Amazon. I'm sure they have their own HR. I really don't know much about them. I don't really talk to the ABM people, and it's not because I feel like I'm better than them or anything. The majority of them are African immigrants who do not speak English and also do not speak Spanish. Do I speak Spanish? Not really. I speak enough Spanish to drive a cab in Arizona. Which is to say I know a little bit. I can generally follow it listening to it than I can speaking it, as long as it's not being spoken really fast. I can generally communicate with somebody that speaks Spanish. It won't be an in-depth conversation, but there's a pretty solid level of communication there. And usually what ends up happening is my broken Spanish meets their broken English in a delightful, uniquely Arizonan Spanglish, which served me well the last time I was in Montreal. I don't have time to explain that right now. Just trust me on that. It really did. Because in Montreal, there's a very strong prejudice against Anglophones. In other words, English speakers. But, especially if you speak English with a Canadian or American accent. But, Spanglish with a Southwestern accent, completely acceptable. I guess I did explain it. Anyway, moving on. Oh, that looks like my car I just passed. Oh, that's a Toyota. It's actually a Toyota Camry. That Toyota Camry I just passed on the right looks a lot like my Lexus. I'm missing my Lexus. Good old Rexus Lexus. I don't even know where the hell Rob has it these days. Hey, didn't talk too much about what I did in Rob's the other day, but I'm sure if you actually care enough about my blogs, pay attention to the start times of the videos, you probably noticed that I was there for quite some time. Way more than the time it took to just swap out a fuse on the air conditioner. So Rob's been having some issues with his. Speaking of air conditioning, he rents that place and has been having some issues with his air conditioning there, and his landlord taking care of it, and that sucks. Consequently, the last mechanic that he had working for him, that's been working for him for a while, not really fond of that guy. Feel he's kind of a flake, and to be fair, I've had these conversations with Rob before. He doesn't like hiring really good, experienced mechanics because he just A, doesn't want to pay that much, and B, wants somebody that's just going to basically follow his directions versus somebody who's more qualified is just going to want to do what they want to do. So, I can see both. I can, as somebody that's own businesses as well, I can see that. When I hire a KJ for Karaoke by Dan Dan, which I've hired several over the years, I tend to not look at experienced KJs. Just because I find experienced KJs are going to want to do things the way they do things, as opposed to do things the way I want them done. And I've also noticed experienced KJs are a lot more likely to make the show all about them and want to sing a lot, as opposed to singers in front of them. And the other thing is, with experienced KJs, I've yet to figure out a way to lock down my computer in such a way that somebody who has full access to my computer, the kind of access needed to host the show, can't also, when they're hosting a show and I'm not there looking over the shoulder, because if I'm there and able to look over the shoulder, hello, I'm able to host the show. I legit worry that somebody who's a seasoned karaoke host is going to find the temptation too great to show up with a flash drive, or even more likely a very large, not very large, but just I don't know how big my karaoke library is, to be honest. I really don't. I used to keep track of that constantly, like how many gigs of space I took up, and I, honest God, couldn't even begin to tell you. It's pretty sizable, but I don't know. I couldn't begin to tell you whether that's 20 gigs, 40 gigs, 100 gigs, a terabyte. I, honest to God, have no freaking clue. Like I think I have all my music libraries on a 2 terabyte drive, and that's been, wow, way more space than I need for a long time. I do notice the amount of free space is starting to shrink. But yeah, it's but at any rate, I do worry that an experienced KJ will show up with a flash drive and just copy my whole damn library, and there's nothing. You know, I'm not computer savvy enough to stop them from doing that. So, whereas I figure if somebody I hire that has no KJ experience, like the odds of them doing that are a lot less, because Anyway, so anyway, so I got a crazy tangent here. So the mechanic that's been working for Rob for quite a while, I don't think he's that good. Like, I want to believe that Rob double checks all his work, but certainly had some moments where things have come back without all the and whatever. I keep going to Rob because Rob's one of my best friends, and generally speaking, takes care of me. Okay, I'm passing Jay's Cocktails. That's where I was running KJ off and on, and I heard they're out of business, and yeah, they are very much closed. That is an extreme bummer. I don't know if the video caught it. There was cardboard in front of the doors and the entrances. Been meaning to come by and actually witness that in person. That's not where I'm headed to or what I'm working on right now, but hey, mission accomplished, en route to something else. So anyway, my biggest issue with that guy is I just feel like he had an absolute shit work ethic, and I'm sure that probably has to do with Rob paying him less than market rate as a mechanic, but then you got to ask yourself, why is this guy working for Rob and not working for a shop that's going to pay him considerably more? So I don't know the reasons. I can theorize. I think that was a bunch of reasons. But I've just noticed when I get there and Rob's not there, he's usually sitting on an upside down pickle bucket, or paint bucket, whatever you want to call it, 5-gallon bucket, and playing with his cell phone and not doing work. That's his common mode operation. Rob's been sticking with him because good help is hard to find these days, especially when you don't have much of a budget for it. And since the whole air conditioning thing has been going on and that guy just turned left where there was clearly a sign saying no left turn, and caused a little bit of delay in traffic. Thanks for that, you asshole. I'm very close to the place I do my recycling at right now, by the way. I really need to swing by there to make sure they're still in business, because I know the recycling business has just been absolute shit for a couple of years now. Before I come out here with a car full of recyclables to find out that they're closed. Because it is getting about time for me to cash in my recycling, even though I expect it's probably going to get a whopping $40 for a whole carload of stuff that will take me a good chunk of my afternoon to handle. But hey, $40 is $40. I'll take it. on the left, I don't know if y'all can see it in the video, but an old Kmart building. It was kind of like an indoor swap meet for quite a while, but it looks like it's definitely completely boarded up and out of business and fenced off now. But yeah, that was a Kmart. I want to say it probably opened in the late 60s, maybe early 70s, but I got childhood memories of shopping at that Kmart, like early, like as a kindergartner and first grader, shopping at that Kmart. So always a big flash of nostalgia when I look to the left and see that building. And for Kmart in general, since I don't think there really are any Kmarts anywhere at this point. And if there are, they're nothing like that. But yeah, I miss being a kid and kind of looking at all the electronics and the video games and the records and the tapes and the records and the toys while my mom chased around the blue light. It was just fond memories, and usually I got a Slurpee, so, or not a Slurpee, but an icy. Oh man, I misspoke. Yeah, Slurpee is 7-Eleven. Icy, Kmart was icy, more or less the same thing. Except the ices, all the machines and the cups and stuff had a bear on them. They had icy bear points that you could cut out from your cup and save to mail in and get free stuff. And I used to get all kinds of stuff with my icy bears. Because every time I was at Kmart, I was peeking in the tops of the trash cans and where people would litter, and I was saving everybody's icy bears. I just rip them out of the cup, throw them in my pocket, and when I got home, I cut them up and trimmed them up really nice. And yeah, I had an icy bear towel and an icy bear hoodie, and oh, this is lovely. We're playing bumper cars here in Indian School today. That's how people drive in Phoenix, especially on the west side. Anyway, hopefully my friend told me to be there in like 30 to 40 minutes, and I think I'm closer to like an hour right now, so hopefully I'm not delaying him. I know he's got to go to work and probably trying to get some sleep before he goes to work, so I'm not impacting his graveyard sleep schedule. But I got to need that SIM card. But I couldn't help but pop in, since I was on the way and I was initially getting there too soon. Couldn't help but pop into the iPhone repair store to see if he maybe had a used iPhone he could give me a smoking deal on, which he didn't. And he tried to look for ones on eBay. I'm like, dude, I can look on eBay. I'm not trying to do that. I'm trying to pay cash and walk with the phone right now because I'm going to pick up a SIM card right now. But he suggested OfferUp, which would have been a great suggestion if I wasn't already knowledgeable about it. Ain't nothing against that guy. I just feel bad. This is like the second time I've gone. First time I went to a store, I threw him some business. He did a fabulous job of rebuilding my iPhone and compensating for what the shop next to Bullock's Cocktails messed up. Oh, by the way, taxi man driving tip: if you're approaching an intersection and you got a green arrow, and at some point you need to be on the next arterial street south or another arterial street south, even if that was not the street you're planning on turning left at, take that arrow, get that arrow, don't get stuck at that intersection. I was headed to 59th, but you know what? I left at 51st, gets me down to Thomas. It don't matter. I'm just trying to make some time here. John F. Long Family Services Center. For those who don't know, John F. Long is the developer that pretty much put in almost every one of these housing developments that are here, which were solidly middle-class neighborhoods when they were built, when there really was such a thing as middle-class neighborhoods. Now it's all kind of ghetto. It's a giant fucking ghetto. But, wow, there's somebody driving a golf cart. That's interesting. Whoa! Somebody smashed through a wall. You always see these cinder block walls facing the major arterial streets, and you're always seeing when people smash through them. It's Phoenix West Side is something else. Remnants of a homeless encampment there on the right see any people in it. Anyway, I should probably wrap this up. But anyway, iPhone story. I went to the iPhone. Oh my God, I got a pool of sweat building in my belly button. That's disgusting. It was so hot. It's probably like 110 degrees out right now. And I'm stuck behind a guy not turning right in the right turn lane. Of course, it's not a right turn lane. It's also a through lane. It is what it is. But yeah, if it wasn't for that guy, I could have turned right on red and I'd still be moving. Oh well. Anyway, yeah, so I popped in there. He didn't have anything, and I probably should have spent a little bit less time in there because obviously I was kind of wasting his time. But I do want to throw that guy some more business. It just so happens the last couple things I went there hoping he could help me with, he couldn't. Anyway, as I walked out of there, I realized that that's the strip mall, the little bitty strip mall that has a Swizzle Stick bar in it, which I've just been meaning to pop in there for ages. And I popped in there and then I looked and I'm like, oh, I don't have time to be here. I gotta go. I gotta meet my friend, get my SIM card so I don't have him, delay his life too much. And I'm like, I don't have time. It's like, shit. So I'm checking my phone to see if I got time for a drink. And I'm bummed I don't. And then, of course, somebody's like, I bet you got time for a shot. Which led into, hey, we have $2 mystery shots. Which led into me doing the said $2 mystery shot, which should have been quick, but that ended up being a little bit of a conversation. And the dude next to me saying, here, try this shot. He gives me some peanut butter thing, which was freaking delicious. And the mystery shot, she's like, do you know what it was? I'm like, you better give me a water just in case it's something foul. Because, mystery shot, it could taste like whiskey, could taste like rum, could taste like vodka. It could be something that's absolutely delicious, which it turns out it was. Or it could taste like furniture polish. It could go anyway with a mystery shot. That's always a great thing. So I'll gamble $2. That's always fun. Turns out it was something absolutely delicious. And she's like, well, do you know what it is? I said, I'm assuming it's either Fireball or some kind of generic wannabe Fireball. She goes, oh yeah, that's definitely better than Fireball. I'm like yeah. To most people who don't know, Sailor Jerry is a generic. I said it did taste a little better. I'll give you that. I'm not a huge fan of Fireball, but I like it. I said, but to the average person, Sailor Cherry is a generic wannabe Captain Morgan. But those who like Sailor Jerry would strongly agree that Sailor Jerry is way better, and I'm definitely in the Sailor Jerry is way better camp. But there was once upon a time when I was absolutely convinced that the Osco, the Albertsons Osco store brand of dark rum was also superior to Captain Morgan. I used to have people do taste tests with it, and I would say 2 out of 3 were like, this is the better rum, and I'd be like, you're drinking Albertsons generic, haha. Anyway, I gotta wrap this up, but thanks for coming with On the Drive.